In this particular distillation, I'm trying to emulate and use some of the principles that the Indians put into practice when they're making their beautiful attars that they've been making for centuries. Their traditional process was, in copper stills, to distill very delicate flowers, for instance roses and jasmine, which yield very little essential oil. They would place all of those petals into the pot of the stills and heat them on open fires, and it would be distilled like we're doing today into an essential oil. And they mainly used sandalwood to catch all of those delicate, volatile, aromatic molecules from the flowers that they were distilling. I've got 500 grams of leaf in the pot of our 10-litre copper alembic, and we've got 800 grams packed tightly into the column. Our experience with tarata and our research has shown us that it's a low essential oil yielding plant. So I'm treating it like the Indians would treat one of their precious flowers. We are trying to capture those very delicate top notes of the tarata so that they will literally float into and be captured into our resinous oil. What I'm trying to achieve here is actually a perfumed oil from the still, from the process of distillation. So we have our fragrant base note in the oil separator, and our top note will be all of those beautiful notes that come over from our tarata, and they'll be captured in the base note of our resinous oil. This is a 10-litre copper alembic column still. These styles of stills have been used for centuries for the distillation of aromatic waters, which we know as hydrolates or hydrosols today, and distilling wines and ferments into spirits. I really enjoy using a small still such as this, as it's very easy to handle and quick to set up. The distillation process does not take too long before you get a result, and of course they're so beautiful to work with. I'm taping their joints with electrical tape to block the vapours from escaping. In the past, a paste of rye flour and water would have been used. Copper adds to a distillation. There may be a small percentage of copper in the distillate. It also removes sulphurous notes, and the distillate is fresh, bright and clean. It's heated on an electric hot plate. In the past, that would have been fire. When I'm distilling with a copper still, I feel a strong link to the generations of distillers before me. So today, what I'm doing here is I'm using our beautiful oil with our resins in them. I've placed 25 mils of our fragrant oil into the pear-shaped separator. The reason why we put our oil, which in this case is the fractionated oil that's been infused with all of those beautiful resins, into the separator first, is so the very small amounts of essential oil that do come over in the distillation from the tarata will be captured straight into that oil. If we didn't have the oil in there, we would only get a tiny meniscus of essential oil of the tarata on a distillation this size, and it would be hardly worth doing it. But because we're using the oil in the separator, it will go immediately into the oil and to be fully dissolved. So we should expect to get a beautiful note of tarata alongside our resins. Without the oil in the separator, because the yield will be so low on this size distillation, most of our oil that we would get would probably get stuck on the outside of the pear-shaped separator, which always is very frustrating. We need to separate the oil from the water of the distillation. paying really close attention that we will not get any moisture or water in it, because that can risk a bacterial growth and also a degradation of the oil itself. Once we separate it out, we will put it in an amber bottle and label it carefully and look forward to using it as an ingredient in perhaps another perfume or a solid perfume or whatever really takes our fancy. And we'll store it away from the light and keep it in constant temperature. We will label this with what the fixed oil was, the resins in it, and the date we prepared it.